This is a really nice burn pot design, and it fits into the Ultra Grate really well. However, a fatal flaw with this burn pot design is that it has to go in this way, because here's our ignition hole and there's our igniter right there, and it's beautiful that it can sit right inside there. Pellets fall in, they don't bounce around and fall out because we have the high walls on this burn pot. However, this burn pot can accidentally be installed backwards, and it will not ignite, and the pellets will sometimes get over this edge and land in here. Most of the times they'll bounce back and forth off the back wall. This is kind of a novice mistake. Once you've made it once, you'll never do it again, but sometimes people aren't paying attention when they put this in there. So having a burn pot that has a different fit front to back so that you can't actually put this in backwards is a big help, but it is what it is. So to get this off, you're gonna use a 1/4 inch, and you're just gonna loosen this one, this one, this one, and this one, and then you push up on it, and then you're gonna take it over the screw heads. Come on, Neil. There we go. All right, so everything's very compact in here. This is our room blower right here, auger motor. This is our exhaust. Our exhaust motor is over here on this side, and this right here is our air intake. All right, so to remove the auger motor, we're going to bend these tabs up slightly, pull the wires from the terminal. This is your set screw right here for taking the auger motor out, and that is going to be a 1/4 inch Allen key. Just loosen up the collar and the motor will drop down. And so right here, here's our auger motor. And it was actually very convenient because the flat side of the shaft was actually in the up position so we could get to it. But if the auger was in another position, let's say down like this against the back of the bracket, it can be a little bit difficult to get in there, and you may actually have to remove this motor and come in from the side, or if you can apply power directly to the back of the motor, or start the stove up and just advance it so that it gets to a point where you can actually get a tool on it. Alright, so to get the auger out, there are 4 screws, also the hex heads that I love so much, and and 4th one. Smooth these out of the way. We're going to make a mess here. All the wood pellets are going to fall out. And we can undo the set screw on this collar. The collar comes off, and then our bushing comes off. Just let's pull out the room blower, or the room blower, convection blower, distribution blower. 4 screws that we need to get to, and 3 of them we can get from over here, up there. We can get from the back side. 1 of them we have to actually get from the side. I'll show you where those are. We're going to get our Allen key on that screw. I absolutely hate these. See, it's not even long. I need another extension. Oops. Yahtzee. There we go. And this one is kind of hard to get to as well. Come on, you. Let's see. See if this will do it. Yep, you actually do got to get this one from the back because the motor itself is in the way of the ratchet. There we go. Oh, come on. Of course, this is the stubborn one. There we go. And this motor is held in with a jack plug, and then you won't be able to pull this motor out from the back. It's got to come out the side. And we have a zip tie in the way. Let's come around over here and there we go. All right. All right, so this is our distribution blower or convection blower or room blower. This motor sits in the stove in this position, and this is towards the hopper or towards the feed system. And this motor requires no oil. Some of these motors actually have oil ports right here and right there. We're not going to be, this one's a sealed bearing. 3,000 RPM, 1.5 amps. So, and you want to put this one back in, it's the same exact way we just took it out. You gotta go in from the side and put it in there, lock in all 4 of your screws, and then it has a handy plug that plugs right into the wiring harness over here. And what would cause one of these motors to go bad? Well, if you got too much stuff inside here, obviously it's not blowing enough air. You can try and clean that. But see how that spins? I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but if I spin that, it freely spins by hand. And if you can't do that, then the bearings are probably gone on this side over here, and it's time for a new blower. The room blower right here is actually on while we're running the stove, while we're starting the stove up, and that doesn't usually happen until on most stoves until it gets to a proof of fire. And the reason why this is running is really cool. The wall behind the stove where the air blows for that comes out right here, the igniter passes through it, and in the igniter passage there's a weep hole in there, so the air that's being blown out of the stove is being forced into that weep hole in the igniter, so that the igniter, as it shoots into the burn pot, is actually a pressurized ignition system. Igniters fail when they don't cool down properly. They always heat up from the middle out, but they need to cool off evenly from the outside in. And when an igniter is being cooled on one side or the other side more than the other, it contracts. As it contracts on one side versus the other side, it bends, and when it bends, the electrodes inside the igniter break, and that's what causes an igniter to fail. The igniter is located right down here underneath the hopper, and it's virtually impossible to get to this igniter and remove it if you have the feed system here, because you need to be able to get straight on it. Also, removing this blower for over on this side, you kind of need to remove both of these things to get into the igniter. Now it's important to note that there is a red wire harness assembly right here. And this red wiring harness, it goes between the igniter circuit and the main harness. And this is a 6 amp fuse that's inside this. And a lot of times when the igniters go bad, this little fuse in here goes bad too. Is it 6 amp? Yeah, 6 amp. So you may need a 6 amp fuse when you replace the igniter as well. So pull this out and then put this aside, and then we'll get our snippers, and we need to cut the zip ties that hold the insulated wires to the wiring harness. And then we can get rid of that one. And we'll take this piece of metal. This is really nice. I like this soft metal bands right here. All right, so then we'll pull these wires out of the way. 1, 2. Let's move those out of the way, and then we can pull this up and get this out of the way. There we go. So that's going to be our igniter right down there, and like I said, that is a 5/8 inch. And so usually an open face wrench is the easiest way to go. 1/2 inch, 5/8, yay baby. All right, so 5/8, and fit that on there, and then basically turn it counterclockwise to get it out. And this is what they call an MPNT, or a machine part national thread, and so it's like a pipe fitter's fitting on there, and the threads themselves, they increase in diameter as you get closer to the nut. If you know your igniter's bad, right, and you're going to replace it anyway, a lot of times you can just snip these wires, and then you can put a socket on it and then turn it out. Or if you got a nice ratcheting wrench like I have, you can get that on there, and then you can turn it out like that without cutting the wires, and then you can pass the wires back through the end of it. But that's how you get the igniter out. And then when you're installing a new igniter, you're going to put the igniter back in the hole, and you're going to turn the threads finger tight until you can't turn them anymore. And then you're going to get your wrench on it, and you're going to do 1/4 turn, and you're done.